Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Let's Talk Moving Podcast and Moving Sales Professionals. And with me today, I have Ryan Ferrier. How are you doing today, Ryan?
Good, Yuri. How about yourself?
Good, good, good. So Ryan is the founder of Pack Horse Moving with over
Mhm.
4 years in the industry and the current focus on franchising.
That's correct. And don't worry, we get pack house, we get pack horse, either one. Naturally, people want to say pack house because we're trying to pack your house, but it's pack horse, and there's a whole story behind it. But I'm sure we'll get into that.
Okay, sure. What's the story behind it?
Well, the story is my last name's Farrier, so it has to do with horses. So I wanted to create a company that was based on my lineage and pay homage to where I came from and kind of my ancestry because I was not in the moving industry. I did not grow up in the industry, so I didn't have I didn't inherit a company from my generation before me. So I didn't want to also use my last name Farrier because one, no one could pronounce it and no one could spell it. So I didn't want it to be Farrier Moving or anything like that. So pack horse, has to do with horses. Farrier is it actually means blacksmith, so there's that connection with horses there. So that and pack horses used to be the actual transport mode back in the day before modern technology of how people would transport their household goods. So there you go. There's a story in a nutshell.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what has got you into the moving industry?
Yeah. So I started out a couple years ago and it really kind of developed over time. So probably about a decade of my 20s, I spent, weekends helping out friends and family, just moving, new halls and maybe like 10, 20 people just really going at it. And I was always the lead. I always naturally kind of took over and was like, okay, you do this, you do that. I was always in the truck climbing on top of the mom's attic, just like really enjoying it. And it wasn't until probably around 2020 I did a move for my buddy. We moved him from Pennsylvania to Delaware, and I just for some reason I just had a great time. It's very weird because not a lot of people like moving. Obviously it's one of the number one stressors that people go through in their life. So for not for me though, I loved it. I had a great time. It was a great workout. I didn't come from much, so I was like, oh, it's a free workout. I don't have to pay for it. It's a great workout. I get to help people, which I love to do. So that part like really appealed to me. And now, obviously, what I'm doing now has nothing to do with moving. I don't pick up couches on a daily basis, but that's what got me into the industry. And now my focus is trying to show other people who have that same kind of passion, or at least drive to help people and do a really good job with their clients. That's not my focus. So that's kind of how I started a couple of years ago, and obviously it's changed a lot now.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more. Okay, so what differentiates you from other competitors? Now, obviously, you're doing more so franchising now, growing your brand
Mm-hmm.
more so than, owning a specific company that's part of the brand per se, right?
Yeah. I guess when I started, I thought I had to do something different, maybe carry the couch a different way, or, obviously everybody's talking about AI and robots and all that kind of stuff. But I finally realized, like, you don't have to like create a new system or a new way to do things. You just have to do it to the best of your ability. So a
Right.
lot of the great companies you hear, they say 5-star service, and that's really what we focus on. Really providing that 5-star
Yeah,
service.
why
A lot of people
reinvent
say
the
it.
wheel, right?
Yeah, no pun intended. I always say that. No pun intended. I'm not really trying to reinvent the moving wheel. I still have a box truck. It's an old U-Haul. We still use the same box trucks that our moving companies use. We have a brand that we really, we think is one of the best. But there are other great companies that have brands, and there are other companies that have 5-star reviews. We just want to package it all together and just really, provide that 5-star service for our clients. That's really what it's all about. And I think we go a step further too, and not all companies do this, but we really care about our employees. We know the moving industry is not known for having the best, people apply for being a mover, and it's looked at, it's kind of frowned upon in society. Being a mover. No one grows up to be a mover. It was funny when I left my corporate job and they said, "Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to go to this company or this company?" And I said, "I'm going to be a mover." It wasn't really taken too well because I went to college, got a degree, and you naturally don't leave that whole white collar industry to go to a blue collar job, especially a mover, because obviously it is one
Yeah,
of
but
the
what you
lower
find
roles
too
that
is
I
that
feel.
it's not you don't necessarily have to have, a degree per se to
Sure,
succeed in life. So like a lot of people focus
true.
on that, and that used to be like obviously what our parents pushed, college, 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 and what have you, right? But at the end of the
Sure.
day, I mean, I got my college degree, I got my bachelor's, but I did not start using anything related to college
Hmm.
until I opened up this company, until I opened up Moving
Hmm.
Sales Professionals. I did not use anything that I learned in school at all. So
Sure.
it's all of that definitely takes time to learn things. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, so I think it's a two pronged approach. Obviously we have to provide 5-star service for our clients. But we actually really care about providing a 5-star environment for our employees as well, which could obviously
Absolutely.
be forgotten about if you just try to get 5 stars for the clients. Kind of avoid the employee part. So we definitely try to balance it too and
So
provide a
let me
great
ask you
service for
this,
it.
Ryan. So a lot of
Yeah.
obviously nowadays there's a lot of companies that sell franchising, whether it's the bigger brands like Allied or Mayflower or what have you, or smaller
Hmm.
companies. So what makes, in terms of franchising, what makes you different?
Yeah. So I saw, I guess, a trajectory of where Pack Horse could go, where either I could just keep focusing on, building a great brand where we were located. I can even open additional locations myself. And that to me just was not my end goal, my vision. So where I really saw, I guess, an opening or gap in the industry is there's no real entry level into joining a brand or joining a moving company brand. There's literally thousands of mom and pops. You can easily start a moving company tomorrow, maybe not the right way. There's a lot of legality behind it, but you can easily just get a box truck and, you and your best friend or sibling could go start a company.
Hi, I'm Gary Bines, the CEO and founder of movinginsurance.com and Relocation Insurance Group. Would you like to secure every move with confidence and shield your company from claims while also increasing your revenues? With Relocation Insurance Group and movinginsurance.com, you and your customers can choose specialized insurance solutions for every step of the move. From moving insurance for household goods to fine art and commercial cargo, we cover it all across all 50 states. From an all-risk policy covering the entire shipment to only specific items to a total loss policy, you can count on us to protect your customers' valuables. Partner with us and benefit from our comprehensive programs managed by our expert team of insurance professionals. With the moving industry's leading moving insurance partner by your side, you can secure every move with confidence. And if you're wondering about compensation, the answer is yes, of course. You'll earn additional income for referring your customers who are interested in insurance. Join our network and let's make every move a success. Discover more with movinginsurance.com.
And when I first started, I was looking to at least get some guidance and maybe some education on how to do all this because there's a lot. Once you start looking into it, you start to realize, wow, there's a lot of regulatory. How do I handle the sales? How do I handle clients? How do I hire and fire the proper employees? There's a lot that goes into it. So I always say that I'm not really. I focus more on the business side than like the moving. I just happen to be in the moving industry. So over time, I developed the skill set to kind of run every aspect of the business. And now my focus with Packforce is to show other people how to do that underneath our brand. So that's really been my passion is to show other people how to do this, do what I did in my territory, my location, and just
Do it
duplicate
the
that
right way.
and do it the right way. Exactly. So, I saw, yeah, I could get to 10 million. There's a lot of like big numbers that people put out there, but my goal was always about quality and not quantity. I wasn't really looking at hitting
Yeah, and I
10
mean,
millions in
honestly,
sales. So,
there's a lot of people that are tossing numbers out. Like you go to moving company events, and a lot of people are like, "Well, what's your gross? What's your gross? What's your gross?" And I've heard that many times, and to me, that means absolutely nothing because to me, it's not about your gross. It's
mhm.
how much do you take home at the end of the day after you've
So with the
paid
net.
your guys, after you've paid your
Mhm.
insurances, after you've covered all your expenses that are there for you to run a business, what are you taking home? Because at the end of the
True.
day, like you have, for example, and I use that as an example a lot. For West Coast, you have companies that have huge grosses, right?
Mhm.
But their expenses are so high that if you compare them to a company out east, it's gonna be, I mean, not New York, of course, but if it's somewhere like where you are in Pennsylvania, right? If you take one of those companies, their expenses are much, much, much lower. Movers, the labor cost is lower than California. The warehouses are less expensive than California. The the taxes, the insurances, everything is less than over there. So the numbers that you're bringing in, you're actually taking home. Your gross overall may be lower, but what you're taking home is actually higher than some of the companies that have a much larger gross. So
Yeah,
it's got to look at that too, because gross, you can say gross whatever. We gross
sure.
$8 million one year, but that doesn't mean we took that home.
Yeah, if you have 9 million expenses, you might as well just not operate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly our approach. We do focus more on just the quality and making sure that we're profitable every month, which obviously will return great profits over a year and definitely over time. So that's been our approach. When I started, when I owned our first location, and now our new approach in franchising is that model exactly. It's for just starting into the industry. We don't actually require any net worth requirements. If I wanted to join a franchise when I first started, I just would not qualify. I just didn't have the net income requirements and even the cash on hand. So we try to build, a model that can literally work for anyone to join us. And, we'll teach and show you how to, build a great moving company. And this happens to be under our brand.
So if it's under a brand, let me ask you this: is your model more of an incremental type of thing, or is it just something, okay, you have to pay me 20 grand every month?
No, that's a great point. So we actually structured it where it's based for our franchisee. So I actually use what's called a flat royalty fee model, where we don't make any more money. We tap out, we max out a certain amount. So we'll never make more than if you decide to grow your business yourself. If you do have expectations or you want to hit a $10 million goal, totally fine. But we're going to max out. There's only so much value we can provide you as a franchisor. We know that a lot of the value is going to come eventually to you hitting the pavement, growing a great company, reinvesting in your company, whether that be in more box trucks, or hiring great people. So we know eventually we're going to max out our value, and we want our franchisees to actually benefit and actually reap more of those profits and actually own the franchisor. Excuse me. So that's kind of our model structure.
No, that's great because there's a lot of places out there that have that, but basically say, okay, you want to be part of this, this is what you got to this is what you got to pay. And
Sure.
sometimes that right there, yeah, somebody may want to be part of your franchise, want to take advantage of what it is that you offer, but they just don't have the funds. They may have a
Mm-hmm.
great mind, they may have a great they have a idea or resources that they're able to take it there, but they're simply not able to pay your cost at least initially. So I would think that
Sure.
the more incremental approach would be something that would be more beneficial. First of all, it's going to get you, frankly, more people that are going to be taking advantage of your franchise opportunity because it's going to be more, at least initially, it's going to be more economically feasible, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
allow you them to build to a point where they are paying you ultimately what you want, and they catch up to whatever numbers you're looking. But at the same time, you
Sure.
have that appreciation to the franchise opportunity, appreciation to the whole model, and whatever you're trying to build in general.
Yeah, and the other franchisors, they're great. They do provide a great value. So there's a lot of value there. It really is just about your risk. You mentioned risk earlier. Getting in at hundreds of thousands of dollars, starting a moving company, it's high risk. It's almost like your expectations are very high. You actually have to hit a home run in order to win. If you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and you only hit single or a double, you're probably not going to get a good ROI or maybe even your initial investment back. But in the end, the franchisor will get their money. We put it the opposite. We care more about our franchisees getting their money back and getting a great ROI. And again, that's why we love our model with the flat royalty fee. There's only so much we can make. So we're really in it for our franchisees, and we're not trying to make a lot of money ourselves. So that is our model. That's where we are a little different than the
Well,
current
that's
structure of
great.
other franchisees.
You're helping the industry grow, obviously, and you're helping some of these companies
Sure.
get to a better place. What would you recommend for new companies starting out? Besides, of course,
Yeah,
becoming part of your franchise.
no, no, no. Listen, I only say that in the event that they don't want to do it on their own. So there is a right candidate to join us. Someone who maybe doesn't want to spend all the time, energy, effort, even money into doing the research and kind of educating themselves. So I did that myself, and it's a lot of work. People say that, but it really is a lot of work. There's a lot of time and energy and effort, and we just try to bypass all that. I mean, it took 2 or 3 years before I fully understood how to run a company properly. So we try to jumpstart that for if someone is interested in what we're doing. But if they're not, there's a lot of great content out there. Obviously, I just stumbled upon yours, but there's a lot of great content on online on how to do things. The real struggle with everything is how do you put those pieces together, or in what order do you do that? But yeah, if someone's just starting in the industry, I would say get as much free content as you can, and don't be afraid to pay for education, whether that's consultation with someone who's done it before. Get a good education and just try to keep learning. If you stop learning, then eventually you'll tap out and you won't be able to go further, grow the company to where you want it to go. So yeah, I know there's a lot of newbies out there looking to do that. So it's very again, that's why I built the model. It is tough. There's not that entry point from $0 to 10 million, because there are a lot of people out there saying, "Oh yeah, I have $1 million company." So how do I go from 0 to 1 million?
Right. At the end of the day, there aren't really shortcuts in this
Sure.
industry, period. You gotta like, to a degree, you gotta pay your dues. To a degree,
Sure.
you gotta make your mistakes too. Everybody makes them. But
Yeah.
that's unfortunately, most of us learn from our own mistakes, not from other people's. I mean, those people that actually learn from somebody else's mistakes, that they're unique in that regard, and that's awesome. I was always a little bit envious of the people that can learn from other people's mistakes. I had to learn
Likewise.
of my own mistakes, and I made a few of them.
Sure.
I'll be the first to admit that. Anyway, I mean, the information is out there. There's plenty of people that are willing to be your coach, your mentor. Granted, not for
Mhm.
free. Something that
Not
I'm
for free and not over time. That's the thing too
right.
of
That's
our
something that I'm
model.
certainly willing to do as well. I'm certainly willing to coach.
Yeah.
I'm certainly willing to mentor if that's something that's anybody's interested in. But
Sure.
overall, that's we're here basically to provide content and help you with the
Hmm.
information that you can hear on this podcast about the way that people got there. People that have been in the industry for a long time, new people that are up and coming. And
Hmm.
ultimately, it's about, I think you need to have adaptability and be able to adapt basically to the environment that's around you. Right now, we're all dealing with a tough situation. There's no other way to put it. So if you think everybody's dealing with it. Now, different areas of the country are doing better than others, but overall, we're all down to where we like to be. The salespeople are not an exception. We can provide better things for you ultimately, potentially, but if everybody in your area is charging X amount of dollars per hour or X amount of money for a long distance move, there's
Hmm.
only so much higher that you can potentially get with a good salesperson, at which point it's not going to, you're still not going to be able to book jobs. So it's got to be within,
Sure.
you got to understand the realm of possibility and be realistic about the chances, because
Hmm.
ultimately we're all dealing with the same thing. We're all going through a little bit of
Sure.
a rough patch now, but business is cyclical. So sooner or later the things will go up. I
I don't know what
think
you're talking about. We're not a pack. We're all up and up. We're all growing. We don't experience the same difference. If you ever hear a moving company tell you that, then obviously they're kind of full of it. But yeah, no, you're right. There's only so much things you can do. So everybody's feeling it now. Yeah.
But I mean, I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, unless you're going to New Jersey. Joke. Anyway, but anyway, no offense, New Jersey people. But anyway,
Yes.
yeah, we're all gonna get there. We just have to bear through it. And realistically, the companies that really got their stuff together, if you're really struggling, maybe you need to look back at your structure, look back at your system. Maybe there's
Hmm.
something there that needs tweaking that will allow you to be in a better place.
Yep.
Whether it's a call center or whether it's a moving company or any other business for that matter, you want to look
Sure.
at your systems, because if things are not clicking, if you're really starting to be between a rock and a hard place, maybe it's your systems. And it's a great thing to prioritize your guys. It's a great thing to prioritize your salespeople, your movers. It's a great thing to do that. But at the end of the day, you're still trying to run a business. And at the end of the day, your salespeople, your movers, they don't care about your expenses. Let's be honest
Sure.
about that. They care
Yep.
about their paycheck at the end of the day. They don't care about how much your maintenance costs. They don't care about how much your insurance costs. They don't care about how much money you need to make after you pay them because you need to feed your family. They don't care about that.
Sure.
They care about their
Yep.
paycheck. That's the bottom line for them. You can be nice to your guys and you can be all about your guys, but at the end of the day, you are trying to run a business. Everybody, every mover, every person you hire, unfortunately, can't be your friend and won't be.
Yeah,
That
I've
you gotta
experienced
run a
that,
business.
hand over fist. It's one of the biggest things, again, why I wanted to teach and train others how to do that, is because there's a big difference between, being a mover and then jumping into maybe a manager or even an owner perspective. So, I have a passion for teaching people how to do that since I've been through it. I know it's a different mindset change of, how
Absolutely.
you view your daily activities at work. So Yeah, I've been through that. I've definitely learned that lesson. Hopefully, I can teach others how not to make the same mistakes that I did. So,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah,
Ryan, you and I can be talking about this for a very long time, but of course, we want to keep this interesting for you guys.
for
So,
sure.
thank you very much for joining me on Let's Talk Moving podcast. And as I always
Yeah,
say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all soon.